Okay, so welcome. My name is Keba. I am a music engineer from Keys House, and I'm here with a couple of young people, a couple of young artists who we're going to introduce now. And we're going to speak today. We're going to do some sessions about artist development. I know there's a lot of aspiring young people out there that want to become artists professionally and want to make it their full-time role. So what we're going to do is we're going to speak about some of the roles today, and then we're going to do bit by bit, breaking down the steps to really develop yourself as an artist and actually really make yourself stand out from the competition. So once again, my name is Keba. We have MX in the house, and we also have Division. So MX, say hello, welcome. Let people know who you are.
So my name is Mark. My stage name is MX. I actually started going to Keys House when I was like 14, I think, back when it was in Surrey Lane. And then from then, I've just been like progressing in terms of music. And now I'm like doing shows, releasing my music on like, Apple Music, Spotify, and starting to produce my own stuff. And yeah.
Excellent. So what's MX stand for? What's the MX all about?
So initially, like my name was MXRK, so I replaced the A in my name Mark with an X. But then I figured that was like too long to say. So one of my friends just like eventually started calling me MX, and then I just like ran with that.
Okay, nice. All right, excellent. Well, welcome MX, and thank you for doing this. Division.
What's good? What's good?
How you doing, sir? Can you introduce yourself to the people?
Yes, my name is Prince. I am from Ghana, living in Wandsworth at the minute. I'm a Christian artist, and my artist name is Division. So I've been doing music for probably about 3 years now. And yeah, I started at Keys as well. Well, I started doing sort of church concerts, and then I went to Keys to kind of learn how to record and, you know what I mean, make music for real. And yeah, it's been a beautiful journey. And now we've got a few projects running through Battersea Art Centre and a few other places. So yeah, man, it's been great.
Amazing. Well, thank you as well for joining us. What we want to do is we want to find out more about the projects you guys already have out, are going to have coming out, and what you're going on, so people can kind of connect with that. But today we really want to kind of get into the first thing about artist development. But first, before we do that, I want to talk about the different roles in the music industry. And especially being an artist now, it's not just about being an artist. You have to do more than one role. So I think the first thing to talk about would be to identify the different roles. Yeah. So any of you guys kind of tell me, let's start listing out some of the roles, some of the jobs in the music industry.
There's like A&R, manager,
right,
sound engineers, producers, like rappers, singers.
Okay. All right. Can you add anything to that, Division?
I think, yeah, that's pretty much most of it. I think promoters, when it comes to getting music out, like designers, so flyers and things like that,
Right.
distributors, yeah, so alliances and bodies and things like that. That's on the, I guess, business side of things mostly.
Right. Okay. So yeah, absolutely. There's a lot. You guys mentioned a lot there. So if we just take it because obviously you got the business side, we just take it on a musical side. You have a recording artist, then you have songwriters. Now, there's an assumption that they're the same people. Not everybody writes their own lyrics, so you have to be clear of that. So you have people who their job are just songwriters, and they like to stay in the background, and they rip like big artists that we don't know about, people like Michael Jackson and stuff like that. They have people that write songs for them that we've never heard of. Yeah. So you have songwriters, you have recording artists. So I don't know if you ever heard of a group called Flowetry, but Flowetry have written a song for Michael Jackson, right? So Flowetry would be the songwriter, Michael Jackson would be the recording artist. Then you have music producers. Now this is a very, very weird term, because producing is, I'm going to produce a show. But then if you have somebody like P. Diddy or Dr. Dre, they're not always the people that actually play the music. They may have other musicians around them. But at the end of the day, they bring the musicians together and they say, look, this is what I'm trying to go for. They put their name on the credits as music producers. So depending on the context in which you say music producer, it could mean different things. So I like to differentiate it by saying the composer, the person that's actually played the music. Sometimes it'll be one person that will produce the whole beat, compose the whole beat, or you may have a band come in, someone plays keys, someone plays bass, someone plays drums. Yeah, so what we got so far: artist, songwriter, music producer. We're going to differentiate that from composer. Yeah. So that's on a creative level. Then you have pre and post production, as you said, engineer. There are predominantly 3 types of engineers. What are the three types? You guys should know this. I've taught you this. What are the 3 types of engineers in terms of music?
Sound engineer.
Okay, there's no sound engineer yet, but within sound, there's 3 types of engineers.
So like vocals. I'm joking, I'm guessing. Like,
Okay, you got recording engineer.
that's what I was gonna say. When I was like, that's like vocal.
Well, give me the other two.
Now I was gonna say recording, mixing, and mastering.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So actually, there's not 3, there's 4 types then. So recording, mixing, mastering engineer, and the live engineer as well.
Okay,
yeah.
Excellent. So obviously recording is self-explanatory. Mixing is also self-explanatory. Once the music, and this is what maybe some young people are unaware of, is there's a process to creating music and making it sound professional. So yeah, you go and you record you record your vocals, you hear it back. To your ears, it sounds quite good. If you're to put that song up against other songs that are out there, you'll hear sonically the difference and you'll hear the imbalances, and it won't do your music any justice. So a mixing engineer, their job is to get that sounding. First, they take all the parts apart, they take all the different elements apart. So they may strip the beat and take the drums, even remove the kick and snare, the bass, the piano, everything. Then they EQ it, play around with it, and put it back together and glue it. And make it sound like nothing's going to sound like it's going to distort or blow speakers. They do the same with your vocals. So that's a mixing engineer job. A recording engineer job is very easy. Make sure they record you at optimum level and don't make it distort. And don't want to record you too high. Don't want to record you too low. Mastering engineer is to get it as loud as possible and to give an overall sonic feel. Yeah. So you might have somebody mix it, and it sounds good, but the level's low, and you want it to have a kind of warm analog sound. So you would then bring that to a mastering engineer. And obviously a live engineer is somebody, when you're performing, they're actually on the fly, they're actually getting the levels and making sure they sound good whilst you're performing. Yeah. And the reason I'm telling artists this information is because artists need to know this information nowadays. Once upon a time, you'd had somebody who would deal with all that, but now, especially as an aspiring artist coming up, you're going to need to learn all this stuff yourself, so that when you start doing your own shows, you know you have to go and speak to the mix engineer and say, oh, actually, can you put a bit of reverb on my voice? Or I've got a very, very deep voice, so can you make sure you bring down the low frequency a bit? So you have to be informed on that as an artist if you really want to get the best out of what you're doing. When you start, it's going to be a lot more challenging because people don't know you, engineers don't know you, and they're not going to respect you. So you may have situations where you're performing and the sound doesn't sound good because the engineer's not making an effort because you're not a credible artist yet. But I'm kind of jumping the gun. So now we've established the creative different roles, and we've talked about the production side of it. Then now let's talk about the business side of it. So you have managers, yeah? So let's be clear so people understand. What do you guys think is a manager's role, a music manager's role?
I would say it's to like deal with the financial side of things, maybe.
Okay.
With like
deal with the money,
contracts, and like where the money goes in terms of
right.
Music videos and all of that. Or also it could be to be booking shows for their like clients as well.
Okay. All right. Anything to add? Vision?
That's pretty much it. I mean, you usually have a manager that deals with all the admin, you know what I mean, hiring staff around you. And then you have like a road manager, but then many times it's the same person, in it.
Right.
If you're going on tour or wherever it is, you know what I mean, people that are going to be contacting promoters, you know what I mean, sorting out like artist brand, do you know what I mean? So things like Spotify bios, images that go on your social media. You know, so it's the whole branding package side of things as well.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you guys. You guys actually mentioned a lot of jobs that can be separated, that sometimes, yes, a manager does do all of that. So essentially, yeah, managers normally take around about 20%. And yeah, they are solely responsible really for handling a lot of the business side of things and to try to also make links. They're there to make links. Sometimes they act as a booking agent. Yeah, a booking agent's a separate role. A booking agent, essentially what a booking agent is they have venues that want performers and they have performers that want to perform and they marry them. That's the sole job. However, a good manager will have a lot of links to promoters and venues themselves and be able to broker those deals straight away. The less people you have in a deal, the less ways the pie has to be cut. The percentages go out. So there's a point to all of this. So that's a manager, yeah? So a manager normally take 20%. Now, a good manager will also, as you said, help you with your branding and your artist development, yeah? So they'll also say, well, okay, cool. You're going to do a show on this tonight. Your image is this. How about you wear something like this? Okay, how about you mention something like that? That's in line with your brand and your marketing message. And that's going to strengthen your position in where you're trying to have a foothold, yeah? A good manager will shield you from the industry rubbish, which there is a lot of. They're supposed to put good deals in front of you and shield you from rubbish deals. So a manager can do a lot. But as we know today, there are quite a few managers, artists, all that stuff that do multiple roles, right? So you've got manager, you've got a booking agent. What else do you have? A plugger. You guys know what pluggers do?
They're the people who like plug the music into different streaming services.
Yeah. Once upon a time, it was radio, and it still is radio. Exactly what it is.
Okay.
Somebody who has a direct, good working relationship with people, influential people, that if they play your song, it gets a lot more of an audience and it can catapult your career. That's essentially what a plugger is. And you used to pay a plugger a fee, and they used to say you had a single, you used to pay a plugger a fee. And hopefully you have a whole marketing campaign behind this song, a video, everything, imagery, and you pay. Oh, this is a tongue twister. Pay a plugger, and they will go around to the big stations, the Kiss FMs, the Choice FMs at the time it was anyway, and say, all right, cool, can we get this on so-and-so's show at this time? And say, yep, cool, it's going to cost you that much. Bam. And then the money moves hands, whether it's ethical or not ethical, and your song gets played in what they call drive time or in the peak times, and all of a sudden it gets played a certain amount of times depending on how much you pay, which then now people start to become familiar with the song and request the song, and then you actually have yourself starting to build yourself a career. So that's the job of a plugger. Okay, what is a PR person? What's PR stand for?
They're like public relations.
Exactly. So go on, elaborate.
So I guess to a certain extent is mainly, I don't know, probably to do with media mostly, because the public, how the public will see you, how the public gets information about, you know, your latest releases, you know what I mean, what shows you're doing, wherever it is. The PR companies, they can also have a role in playlisting as well. You know what I mean? Like getting your music out to the public. And so, you know, sometimes you want an audience, or you kind of have an idea of what you want your audience to be like, but you don't know how to reach them. You know what I mean? And so I guess the PR companies or the PR person will basically serve as a link from you as the artist to the people that you're trying to reach with your music.
Pretty much, yeah. It's quite accurate. I would just add to that they're essentially responsible for your public image in a simple way. They're responsible for making sure that you're always on brand, and you appear to the public to be within that brand. So if your brand is, if you're the hardest gangster rapper ever, if you're 50 Cent, and someone has some footage or something, someone releases some footage of you getting punched in the face, yeah? Sorry to be so graphic, young people, right? somebody releases a footage of you getting punched in your face and what we used to call chiefed up or bad up, right? And you're supposed to be the baddest gangster rapper and everything. The PR's company is to get hold of that footage and take it off the internet as quick as possible because it's spoiling the brand. Yeah, that's the job of the PR. And to figure out a way to take that and twist that story to still make 50 Cent come out on top being the baddest gangster. That's the role of a PR, yeah? Okay, publishing. You spoke about the legal side of making money, the music royalty thing. So publishing. So MX, can you tell me anything you know about publishing, what a publisher does?
I'm not too sure about, but I do know about like PRS,
Right.
where like, you register yourself as an artist to gain royalties from like whenever your song gets spun on like radios, or whether it could be in a shop or whatever. So anytime somebody plays your song, you get a certain amount of royalties for that.
Excellent. Yeah, that's it. You got it. That's exactly what you're saying is what a publisher would do on your behalf.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, depends now. Yeah, it still happens now. But once upon a time, artists wanted to get publishing deals. They wanted to actually go through a publisher to register their music because publishers were giving advances. So you used to have record companies giving advances and music publishers giving advances because they could see the amount of interest that an artist had. And they could foresee that the artist was going to do very well. And definitely they would recoup their money and make profit, yeah? And so the job of a publisher is to do just that. Make sure that every single piece of possible money that the artist can get, the artist is getting. And the reason that the publisher is going to do that is because every money that the publisher gets on behalf of the artist, they get a percentage, yeah? And how it works is, let's say that you guys are artists and I've got a publishing company. I say, right, I'm going to give you $6,000, I'm going to give you $6,000, yeah? You guys will start making money once I've recouped my $6,000. It's in my interest to get you out there to make sure that your royalties bring back the $6,000 so that you and I start making profit. Yeah, does that make sense? The good thing about a publisher is it takes, and all of these different roles is it takes all of that off the back of the artist and gives the artist an opportunity to really advance and concentrate on being the best they can as an artist. Yeah. So music publishing, so let's really quickly touch on that. We'll go into it in more detail in another session, but let's really touch on that. So you mentioned PRS, yeah? So this is relevant because we spoke about the different types of creative roles. So you've got the recording artist, you've got the songwriter, yeah? Sometimes the same people, not always the same people. You have the music producer, the composer. That pretty much nowadays means the same thing. A producer and a composer pretty much means the same thing. So you have PRS, MCPS, PPL, and VPL, right? Now, things have changed because once upon a time, you used to make music and press it up on a physical CD or vinyl, right? So the MCPS is called Mechanical Copyright Protection Society, something to that effect. Don't quote me on that. They were solely responsible. I think we may have lost the vision. Hope he comes back. Yeah, they were solely responsible. Oh, there he's back. They were solely responsible for that, for anything mechanical. So even if your music was in a toy, they would make sure you get the royalties from that. That's MCPS. My understanding, because I'm still learning, because things are changing now with streaming, my understanding is that they also pay royalties off your streams as well. And that's for writers and composers, MCPS, yeah? Not performers, from my understanding. PRS, similar as well. It's for writers and performers, not for performers. Sorry. Writers and composers or producers, not for performers, yeah? So PRS, once again, Performing Rights Society, yeah. As you said, MX, anywhere your music is played in a public place, for example, if the radio's playing in Key's house, which is a public place, it's a youth club, it's in Battersea, to check it out, it's really awesome. If your music's played there, Key's house has to pay an annual fee to PRS to be able to play this music that's registered. From the annual fee, PRS will split up, figure out, they have kind of algorithms in the machine to find out how many times that song's been played throughout that year. They will then calculate how much money from that fee that they've got from Key's house and all the other places that that artist is owed, and they will pay that artist directly If the artist has published the song directly, they pay the artist. Or if they have a publisher, they pay the publisher. Publisher takes their cut, then pays the artist. Yeah, but we're getting into more detail. So you got MCPS, mechanical, PRS, Performers Rights Society, PPL. Let me think. Phonographic Performance Limited, something to that effect. Now, PPL is for the performers, which are the recording artists. So once again, this is taken into account. If you have a song and you didn't write it, but you performed it, you will now go and sign to PPL. And then you can get royalties from PPL. And then you have VPL, which is Video Performance Licenses, which is now, if you own the rights to visual, if you paid for your music video and it's being played on these things, you can also get royalties from that. Yeah, right. But anything I've missed out on. So you've got managers, you've got tour manager, you've got regular manager. Sometimes the same people, sometimes different people. A tour manager obviously does just that. They're responsible for making sure when you go on tour as an artist, you don't have to talk to anybody you don't want to talk to. All you got to do is prepare to perform and maybe do a little press here and there and little appearances here and there, right? So you don't talk to the promoter, you don't talk to the live engineer when you're performing, the venue owner, you don't talk to any of those. That's the tour manager's job. What you do is a tour manager pull up, tour manager gets out, gets your key, your room keys, everything. Okay, we're ready, and you go in and check in. Everything's supposed to be taken care of the tour manager. Yeah. So in an ideal world as an artist, you will have all these different people working for you, and all you'll do is be the best artist you can be. Now, here we go. You know where I'm going. When you're starting out, you have to do all of these jobs. Obviously not all at once, because you're not, as when you're starting out, you're probably not going to get shows. I don't think it's a good idea when you're first starting out to go and do shows. I think you want to own your craft in the studio first. Really, really find out who you are as an artist and your brand before going out to perform. So, out of all the things mentioned, guys, gentlemen, tell me what do you think out of those roles when you're first starting out, first starting out of those roles, what do you think you need to do? Because there was a lot of roles we just mentioned there.
I would say, you talk about the four, like PRS, PPL and stuff.
No, I mean, what I mean is, like, let's say you guys, because I know you guys have been doing it for a few years. Let's say you guys are just coming in. You're just coming into, you've got this passion for music. You're coming into Key's house, you're recording, and you're like, I love this so much. I think I really want to do this. I'm going to go for it. I think I'm good enough. I think I can get better, but I really want to do this. Out of all the roles we just said, what roles do you guys need to be concentrating on immediately? Because there's no way you can do all of that, especially you don't need to when you first start. So that's the question.
I would say songwriting out of them all.
Songwriting, yeah.
Songwriting, recording artists, and a bit of managing. So things like social media, things like just registering, setting up artist profiles and things like that to try and, gather a fan base, so to speak, or people that you can send your music to. And yeah, to a certain extent, if you actually start recording and making songs that you can put out, then you can start to kind of reach out to blogs or something like that, try and see if you can submit your music to websites to try and get. But then that comes into, I guess, a bit of PR. So like, a bit of a press release or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think for the most part, when I started, for instance, I saw what other articles about music looked like. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you go on a music website, you see what they said. This artist born in this place, they just released this song and it's about that. And so you start to kind of think about your music in that way. It's like, what is my song about? What is my story? So you kind of start to find your brand in that time. For the most part, I think. And I think for me, what I did, which was really helpful, was to actually learn things about like engineering as well. when I was in the studio with, obviously people in Keys, just learning what it meant to engineer sound, what it meant to, how do you even record? Do you know what I mean? Because, you could be in there because time is very limited, and the amount of time that you can get with engineers, especially in youth centers many times, it's always better to learn that side of the business as well, or that side of the craft as well. Do you know what I mean? Like learning how to record vocals. No one is saying you're going to be an amazing engineer just off the bat, but just something that, you can understand. Do you know what I mean? You start to understand music a bit more, I believe. During that time.
Yeah, that's really good. I think just, you made a great point is learning how to engineer essentially is learning how to communicate with an engineer, which is so important as an artist. Because if you can't communicate what you're trying to get through to the engineer, you become frustrated. The engineer may become frustrated, and that's going to affect your artistic output for that day. If you're trying to say you want to double the chorus and you don't know how to communicate that to the engineer because the engineer is speaking a different language to you. So things as simple as that is so important, and I think they get overlooked a lot of times. So, kudos for you taking the time out, as I know you also did, MX, as well, taking the time out to understand the technical aspects of it and how to communicate, because you two guys go to any studio in the world, you should be able to communicate with the engineer and get what you want out of that session. As we said, time is of the essence.
I remember one time, like when I first started out and I was recording with Freddie, this is when like I knew nothing about engineering, and I wanted to ask him for a little bit more of reverb. But I didn't know how to communicate that. And like the way I was saying it, I was like, oh, can I get like that dreamy effect? And like that must have made zero sense to him, because it's like, what does that even mean? But like knowing the different sort of plugins to add and like all of that helped immensely.
Yeah. So you guys are right, and I think you made a really good point as well. The vision is that the branding aspect of it, like social media is so huge nowadays, and we will do a session or two just on that. It's so huge and pivotal in building yourself as an artist. And for me as a person, I'm a producer, composer, songwriter, artist, all that stuff myself. I watch and I look at stuff and I look at things that are successful and not successful. And I'm like, okay, I can see why that's successful. That has a very, very clear branding to it. And they always stay on brand. And not only are they presenting music, they're also showing a bit of their personality, which really marries into their music as well. So it makes sense cohesively. Do you know what I mean? So, it's always good to look at examples. As you said, you looked at examples of articles and blogs and stuff like that. But what I would suggest, and I've got to, because I'm still in the process of doing it, is making literally a step-by-step. And I want to start from when people first start. I would suggest that for the first, at least minimum 3 months, it depends on how frequent you're actually recording, but minimum 3 to 6 months, you don't release any music. And I know people don't like to hear that. I know your younger generation is very different to the way we was. I know you do I know you guys do a song. Not you guys. I've been in the studio recording young people, and before they've laid the chorus down, oh my gosh, this song's gonna be a hit, and we're gonna shoot the video there, and they haven't even laid the chorus down, So their brain's all the way over there. So it's difficult. It's called delayed gratification. But if you are serious, I would suggest taking the time to record as many songs as you can, really figure out your identity as a musician, as a singer-songwriter or rapper-songwriter. And then people that you trust their opinion, you respect their opinion, and they're going to be honest with you, let them feed back to you. And if you give them something in January and they're like, oh, that's no good, and when you give them something in July, they should be saying, wow, you've improved. They should be saying that. And if you haven't improved, you may need to look at something else. I'm joking. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Now we spoke about a lot of stuff. I don't want to overwhelm people, so I'm going to chop this stuff up. So what I want to do for the last few minutes is speak to you guys, find out a bit more about you guys as artists, your journey, what you have done in the past, what you've got coming out, and how people can find you out. So if we start off with I'll ask you question by question. So if we start off with the vision, I know you did mention at the beginning, but tell us how long you've been doing this, what inspired you to get into it, how you would define your type of music or brand, and then we'll move on question by question.
You just asked me 3 questions or 5 essays, fam.
Yeah.
So yeah, my name is Division. As I said, I probably started music around, I would say late 2016, so probably around November time, getting into the studio, that is. Before then, so I became a Christian in about 2012, and I went to a church called Potter's House Wandsworth, and they used to do all these concerts in the Wandsworth area, and it was pretty dope. I just come here from Ghana when I started going to the church, so it was like for me to see live concerts and things like that was exciting. And I believe one time someone just encouraged me to just do something for a talent show. Yeah, and it was terrible. It was really, really terrible. Like Kevin said, you don't, you don't really want to be performing until you know something. But at the same time, when you get opportunities like that, where it's just like a talent show, just to try out to see where it is, it might be worth the shot. Just as long as no one records it. So I mean, this time it would probably be difficult to not get it recorded. But yeah,
absolutely.
It was terrible, but it kind of sparked something in me to want to sort of investigate a bit further. Do you know what I mean? So, I was praying, trying to see what to do next. And then by some way, I don't know what happened. I just found out about Keys. And so I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity. I went to Keys, found out they got a music studio. So I went in there, spoke with the engineers, Keba and Freddie at the time. So speaking with them, just trying to, book studio sessions where I just really didn't know what I was doing. So just get a beat off YouTube or something like that. Try to do a remix of a famous song. Just put in like some Christian words in there or something like that. And just being in that space, obviously they were basically coaching me through everything. In terms of how to record, what to record. I'll try to do a harmony, like I knew what a harmony was. Try to sing it low, try to sing it high. So they coached me through recording a few songs. And I think probably in about 6 months, I started to put some of the songs out. And it had some positive feedback from the people that I knew. But more because they basically did everything. Do you know what I mean? So they basically coached me through it. But then I started to get certain opportunities, so like going on radio and things like that. And as I would go on radio, it was all a blessing. But what happened was I started to basically get like a little backlash because these songs were not mine. Do you know what I mean? So I had made a parody, or I'd made like a little remix, but they're not my song. Do you know what I mean? It's not my instrumental. Like when people hear it, they still hear the original at the back of their minds. And so one of the DJs, he actually gave me an advice. He was like, if you actually want to do this, you got to start doing original stuff. Do you know what I mean? You can't just be doing covers. Like covers are good to kind of get you started and kind of understanding a little bit of what music is like. But the transition from that into original music, took place probably late 2017, early 2018. And by the grace of God, I've just been working on it. I've been working on a few projects. So I started learning about engineering, started learning about different things. So I kind of set up a home studio and started learning as well. So it's been really learning processes, speaking with people, getting advice, even with like writing a press release and things like that. Do you know what I mean? How to make that effective. Going to shows, like going to networking events, and speaking with people in the music industry, and just speak with them. Like literally, people will do so many things for you because you have a relationship with them. Do you know what I mean? Like you can be an amazing artist, you can do whatever it is, but just because someone doesn't know you, they don't feel like you know, they should do anything for you. They you know what I mean? They could have loads of great music on their table, or not so great music, but because they know people, relationships matter a lot.
Mm.
You know, when people know you, they're more open to even listen to your song. Do you know what I mean? Because you imagine if you want to get your song to a blog, they're getting hundreds of submissions, maybe thousands. And so it's easy to get lost in that. But this is the field that I'm kind of treading now, which is trying to grow into a bigger, you know, get into bigger spaces. And yeah, man, relationships have been key in my journey. And now, by the grace of God, you know, we've been doing a few projects with Battersea Art Center. We're doing a
I'll pause on that because I'm going to ask you that in a separate question. What you're
different?
doing, like what you've got coming up. But thank you for that comprehensive answer, and you made some really good points there. Relationships are key, and that's everything in life, not to do with music. Your net work is your net worth. Who you know. It's not always about what you know, it's about who you know. Such an important life lesson, man. So thank you for that.
Very true.
Real quick, if you can give us a quick answer on behind the name division, because I know you had a previous name. So what was a nice quick answer? What was the catalyst for you changing your musical name?
So yeah, I used to go by the name Tinkers, and that was a name that I had from high school when I was in Ghana. And I was in a church service last year, so around November 2019 or October. And I just felt God speak to me, really is the easiest way to put it, because I had this vision. I always kept talking about this vision about community, about growth, about how music can build communities. And you know, I had heard a sermon about, you know what, when we're little, we get asked, what do you want to become when you grow, right? And then we grow up, and it's kind of like, now we don't want to become anyone anymore. We just want to get things. I want to get a new job. I want to get a new car. And so just going back to that, what do I want to become? And I believe that kind of light bulb moment of, I want to become that vision that I have for my community. Do you know what I mean? I want to embody all the things that I want to see. So things like community, things like just impact, just communication, just relationships. I want to embody that in my music and in my art, and really use that to impact Wandsworth mostly, but yeah, the world at large.
Love it. So like I really bring people together type of thing.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's my vision, and I am the vision.
Love it, love it. Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Yes, MX, can you tell us a little bit about your history and you know, how you kind of came into this? What influenced you? What sparked the interest? Because I know you're very serious about your music, as is the vision. You know, I remember meeting you a while ago, and you was, I think, did you first come to us based on the engineer course, or did you come before the engineer course?
I came before the engineer course, because
okay, so talk us through it.
The other one, isn't it? So I must have thought about music when I was like 12 years old, like playing around in secondary school, like just writing lyrics with my friends and stuff. Then fast forward to like 15, and like music's always been a big part of my life, like listening to it. Like it just helps you through so many things. And I got through like a stage of my life, I was like, yeah, you know what, like maybe let me try this out. And I remember speaking to someone who used to go to Key's house, and they were telling me like, oh, there's a studio here in Surrey Lane if you want to go check it out. Then me and my
so that's the old Key's house.
Yeah, the old Key's house. Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry, the vision. Is it the latest Key's house, or did you come to the Surrey Lane one?
Nah, I think the new one, man.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah. So go ahead.
The old one was crazy, because like the recording room was literally like a box that you just like go into, and it got stupidly hot in there as well.
And it shook, right? The box shook. Yeah.
But yeah, I went there and I recorded like my first song with my friend Lawrence, who like does music here and there, but he's moved to Australia now. And yeah, like that's when I first started out, and I think I took it more seriously 3 years ago, maybe, like when I was 20 years old. So when I went to my first ever concert at 20 years old, it was J. Cole's concert. And I don't know if you guys remember, like there was this like random day where the sky was just orange for like the whole day, like 3 years ago.
No, I can't say I can. Remember it now.
It was like really weird, and like it turns out it was just like sand from like the Sahara Desert that somehow managed to travel here. Like it just made the sky orange the
I
whole
think
day.
I heard that.
Mhm.
And that day I was like, you know what, like I want to take music seriously, like, and I started working on like my first ever project called Orange Sky, which I'm still like working on. Like I want it to be like, it's weird because I'm not really a perfectionist, but I want this project to be perfect because
Mhm.
it's like the first one that I've been working on. So like since then I've just been like working on loads of different songs that me or my friends have produced. I've released one EP since then, which I done a launch party for in Brixton back in December 2019, and I'm like in the process of releasing another EP probably end of this month.
Amazing. So you started working on a project 3 years ago,
Yeah,
and you're not ready to release it yet,
no, not yet.
but you've released EPs in between then.
Yeah,
Amazing. So what you're saying is you're actually taking the time.
yeah,
You're owning your skills because you know what you want to present to the world.
literally, yeah.
Same like the vision. He's like, I'm taking my time. I'm saying I want to get this. I know I'm still in the development stage. I want to kind of get there. That's brilliant. It's really good. Okay. So talk to me, Division, about um, well, you both you guys didn't tell me the genres of music you do. I mean, I know, but people don't know the genres of music or the genre. So first, MX, what type of, how would you describe your sound? And then Division, how would you describe your sound?
It's weird whenever like anyone asks me like what kind of music I make because I don't know like a definitive answer to give.
Okay.
Because I feel like loads of my songs vary basically, but right now I'm kind of going through like a trip hop kind of phase. So it's like hip hop, but over like trippy kind of beats. That
Okay.
makes sense.
My only reference to that is Shay Lingo, who used to come to
Yes,
Keys a
yeah,
lot. He's part of a whole movement called Trip.
yeah.
The risk is proof.
The risk of proof. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and yeah, go on, carry on.
I wouldn't say it's that though. I would say it's more like I rap over like chop and screwed kind of beats.
Okay, you're gonna play us something a little later, right?
Yeah, I think I might have a song that I can play.
Okay, all right, so we can hear it. All right, Division. What kind of genre of music do you do?
Well, I do primarily Christian music, and so I got different styles, but mostly Afro, a bit of rap, and hip hop if I have to.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, because my music it's not really being birthed out of talent, I would say. It's being birthed out of my Christianity and my ministry. You know, I really believe it's spirit inspired. So, you know, when I hear a beat or when I hear an instrumental, it's basically like a platform that God can use to send a message. You know what I mean? So I'm usually able to get on pretty much a lot of things by the grace. But yeah, my comfortability is a bit of rap and Afro. Put me on any Afro thing.
Okay. All right. So I mean, I know that MX mentioned J. Cole as one of the influences. Do you have any influences that's out there commercially that we know about Division?
Do you know, it's our life. I said I did, but there's a lot of artists I respect. So someone that called out music, got one of my brothers, Renzo. But yeah, like there are people that I really, really respect for their music and what they do. But I'm not, because I didn't really grow up being a fanboy. Well, I grew up being a fanboy of people in Ghana. And then when I moved there, it's kind of like the music is different, the scene is different. And I couldn't really listen to the people that I listened to back home in Ghana because I became a Christian and their messages weren't really aligning with the path that I wanted to take. And so, you know, there are people that, you know, they're all-time greats that, you know, you just appreciate their work. And so there are people that I will play their music to get inspiration from how their sound is like and whatnot. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So another couple of questions, and then we'll hear some music and we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much, guys, for spending all this time with us. We're hoping this will go out on YouTube, Keys YouTube. We'll chop it up and put it on all the socials. So what we're going to do as well is take your social medias as well and push that so people can go and listen to your stuff and hopefully follow you as you grow and become bigger and bigger and bigger. Right. So what was the question I wanted to ask? Okay. So let's start with MX. Where you are currently now, where do you feel you are in your stages of development as an artist? Do you feel that you know yourself, you know your brand, or you still feel like I've still got a bit of fine tuning to go? Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I know my brand, but it's more of a, like, I'm at the stage where I feel like I can still improve on my brand. It's like, I know, like, what kind of artist I want to be. I know the artist I am, but there's still, like, little bits here and there which I know that I can, like, improve.
It's really interesting, right? When you look back at this video, you look like you got on a superhero suit. Where your cushion is, you probably can look at it now. Where your cushion is, you got like some kind of little Batman thing or something. Yeah. And then we got the vision is at some castle in Ghana.
In Ghana.
Some castle in Ghana. Stuff like that. Love it, love it.
Oh,
the vision. Same question to you, man. Where do you see where is your stage of development in terms of your artistry right now and your brand?
I think I'm at a tipping point type of thing, where it's kind of like, this is the time when I kind of really lay into it, if that makes sense. So, you know, the type of content that I put on my music have been challenged in a few ways. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And so because of those challenges, so things like, when you mention Jesus, it kind of, you know, it doesn't sound like the song is welcoming for everyone to listen to it. Do you know what I mean? You know, you submit songs and they're like, you know, it's a good song, but our editorial board doesn't include religious. Do you know what I mean? So there's all of these things that kind of present themselves, which has basically now made me make decisions about, am I really going to stand for this, or am I going to be the person that is now like a rapper who's a Christian? Do you know what I mean? When I do messages just because of the art, and, you know what I mean? Move from the Christianity. But yeah, man, now it's just that, so for me, it's just, wherever the Spirit leads. And yeah, he's been leading since day. So in that arena, that's set, that the message is always going to be gospel and Christian. The only thing that I am exploring or thinking about now is storytelling, like how I tell my stories, using metaphors, or more like, this is Jesus, have him. Do you know what I mean? So
direct talk. Because what you had said initially was, you know, the whole vision thing.
Yeah.
That's a great question you're asking yourself, and these are the kind of challenges you guys and girls, aspiring artists, need to ask yourself is, okay, okay, cool, this is what I want to do, but according to the feedback, which is what the vision's saying, according to the feedback, some have been saying my music's too exclusive, and do I want to be more inclusive? And does that mean that strays away from my original vision and the brand I thought I was going to create? And am I comfortable with that? That's what you're essentially asking yourself, which is really good. I would just say this: can you still reach your vision without doing it being solely talking through the lens of religion? For example, the vision as in bringing communities together for positive upliftment. Can you do that devoid of speaking, or, you know, through the Christian lens? That's rhetorical. That's for you to go away and think about. But it's just, you know, something to add to. Had some really good questions, and they're gone. Okay, here we go. Sorry, the question I just asked the vision, have I asked you that one already, MX?
Which one was that?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Here we go. Guys, what you can do while you're talking to me, start queuing up your music, yeah? If you can, start queuing up your music so we can hear something. Okay. Right, MX, as a slightly older artist who's been through some years of development, trying things out and still developing yourself, to young artists that are just starting out, what's your advice? And really what I'm asking you to say is, if you could talk back to your 16-year-old self, or whenever you started, and to avoid some of maybe the mistakes or the lessons you had to learn then, what would they be? What's your advice to a young artist coming out now, taking into account the climate we're in, which is the type of music that's popular, and also where, I guess, where an artist or an aspiring artist is in their mind state. Are they wanting to express something that they want? Or are they trying to create popular music to be popular?
Yeah.
That's two different things.
Yeah, literally what you just said. So I was gonna say it depends on what kind of artist that person wants to be. So if
Okay.
it's like an artist where they just want to put themselves out there like straight away, then my advice to them would be like to figure out what kind of sounds are like popping right now. So like right now in the UK, it's Afro beats and like drill music and stuff like that. And if that's like the kind of genre that they want to go into, then like who's to say that like no one can really stop them from going into that.
Mm-hmm.
But me personally, I've always wanted to be an artist where like I'm expressing who I am and like what I feel. And I can't like this is why whenever people ask what kind of genre I make, I don't know what to say because I don't like have one genre that I tend to stick to. Like sometimes I've like rapped over rock beats or I've like rapped over like just simple beats. And one thing that I would say to myself if I was younger would be to just hone on that skill. Because I tried to like try out loads of different type of beats like trap, drill and stuff like that, and it just wasn't for me. Like I couldn't see myself like becoming an artist over those songs. I remember like there was this one song from one artist that I listened to called Black, and in the intro of that song he was saying he doesn't want to be like a pop-up rapper where like he pops up only for that one song. Like he wants to have multiple songs that someone knows him for. He wants to have multiple songs that someone like recognizes him for. He doesn't want to be the song. So for example,
he doesn't want to be pigeonholed.
yeah, so it's like for example, like that drill artist Russ, he done that Gun Lean song. He's known as the Gun Lean guy. He isn't known as Russ. As he isn't known as Russ the artist, he's known as that's the Gun Lean guy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely, 100%. 100%. Okay, cool. So if you're able to queue up a song for us, that's great. I'm gonna ask the Vision a question. The same question, the Vision. What advice would you give to young artists starting out today?
I think self-control is a key thing. So I had a fellowship yesterday where we spoke about self-control, and I think it applies in a lot of areas. As an artist, you're gonna get presented with different opportunities, but then you have to basically take responsibility. Just because an opportunity is presented doesn't mean you should take it. Do you know what I mean? So, you grow in your craft, you do all of these things. And when you're making decisions, basically just make them based on what you know to be true to you. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, we just released a song recently with Jar Moves and Pisa called Keep Moving Forward. And Jar Moves, one of his bars is like one of my favorites now. It says that flesh talks, but he's trying to find a soul sound, right? So there were things that he could just say, and it was just like, yeah, just in the hype of the moment, and he just made the tune. Do you know what I mean? But he says that he listens to it back now. So why did I even say that? Why did I put that on record? Do you know what I mean? Why is that out there for people to hear? You know what I mean? Just because I want it to sound hard, just because I want it to sound, because, the decisions that we're making now, believe it or not, affects us when we're older and we're looking back. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, would I be able to show my products to my children? Do you know what I mean? Like things like that. Will I encourage my children to listen to my products? Because I remember when I was a bit younger, I used to do a bit of movies and things like that. And some of the things that I shot, I'm not comfortable watching. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's kind of like, just because I had the opportunity to go in front of a camera, I was willing to just do anything for it. But if I had some self-control, if I was just able to say, you know what? Yeah, think about this. You know what I mean? Take responsibility. It's not, do you know what I mean? You basically, you can say no. Do you know what I mean? We apply that to a lot of areas in life. But sometimes when it comes to art, it's just like, oh yeah, just go wherever the wind takes you. Not always. Do you know what I mean? Like you can say no, you can't say, you know what, I've got limits, I've got boundaries. And I think that's a good discipline that will keep you over the longer kind of run. Yeah.
Brilliant answer, man. Self-control is very important in all aspects of life, you know? Definitely, man. All right, guys. It'd be great if we can hear some music from you guys. Real quickly, very quickly, let us know what you got coming out. We're coming up to an hour now. Let us know what you've got coming out. We're going to try it. Don't know how it's going to work. So we'll try MX first. If you can share your screen and play us a song, you want to introduce a song, and then tell us how to follow you, where to follow you. Obviously, we'll get the details and we'll post it. Keys will post it so people can link directly to you. We'll do the same for you, Division and stuff like that. All right, so, I mean, I've been talking a lot. Are there any questions you guys want to ask me before we kind of wrap up?
No, I don't think I have any questions.
No, I'm good still.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I chose these two gentlemen here. I mean, I know many young artists at Keys. I chose these two young gentlemen because first of all, they're very they're genuinely nice young men. I've worked with them, both of them, over a manner of years, and teaching them engineering in the studio. And I've seen them grow as artists, and I see that they take the music very seriously. This is the reason why, hence I chose these two young men. I'm going to be reaching out to some other artists. I don't know if I can get them on at this time, but I would invite these young men to come back. We're going to try and do weekly sessions. We're going to try and actually present some stuff and break it down like a step-by-step guide of what artists should be doing to really get themselves and put themselves out there seriously as musicians and stuff like that. So once again, my name is Kevin, this is Keys. So we're going to hear some music from MX. So we're going to hear some music from Division, and we will see you next week, hopefully. So MX, the floor is yours. If you can introduce your song, try and share your screen, and hopefully it will work. Hopefully it will work.
So basically, I have my song on my phone. I don't know if I could play it from the mic and that would work out.
You can play it,
yeah,
but you have to be prepared that sonically it may not sound great. So if you're willing to do that.
If I play it from my screen, like, would it play as if it was playing from your screen?
So I don't understand. So you're going to actually play the audio coming out the phone?
Yeah, so I was going to play it like, straight from my phone into the mic.
Yeah, you can play it. We'll hear it, just like we hear your voice, but sonically
also, like, I have a clip which I screen recorded from the show that I done back in December.
That would be great. So if we can see that. So if you share your screen and show us that.
1 second. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
I have like loads of work up. I have exams coming up soon. So there's this. So basically, like, I released my EP Sunset Journals back in December, and like, I've done the launch party for it. And this was one of the like most popular songs. So before I play it, like, there's like a tip that I have for artists, like, whenever they actually go do their shows. Obviously, like, your friends should be coming to your shows, like the ones who actually support your music and stuff. And I sent my friends like some of my songs before the EP release, like before the launch party. So they got familiar like with the songs that was like about to be played. So when my songs were playing, they were already hyped and stuff, like, over the music. And that like is great when it comes to footage, because then like when you upload that footage into places like Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat and all of that, people see it and they're like, bro, like,
how come I don't know about this artist? They're all singing along. So how come I don't know?
Literally.
You got it, man. You got it. You know, that's a brilliant marketing ploy. So let's check it out, man.
Yes. It decides to open. Yeah, so
Very impressive, man. Well done, bro. You know, and that, you know, to anybody looking at that, they're going to be like, okay, this young man has been able to create his own music without any of those other professionals, get his own show together, get people in there that like his music. There's potential. That's essentially what you've been able to do. And and a lot of people can't do that. So well done, man. So look forward to hearing some more stuff. What you got coming out?
So I have another EP coming out called The Art of Love.
Right, so you're from Sun, what was it? Sun
Tzu, yeah.
Sun, what, say?
Tzu, I think it's Tzu.
Sun Tzu, or Art of War Sun Tzu.
Yeah, so yeah, The Art of War, but
Okay.
like I've done a twist of it called like The Art of Love. It's like, I feel like my brand, which I've like been working on, like mainly revolves around love. And it's like just me putting my feelings onto like.
Nice.
Nice.
Hence the reason there were so many females in the crowd, yeah?
Yeah.
No, listen, man, it's all about branding, you know.
Yeah.
There's rappers out there that they got big muscles. They take their shirt off. It's marketing, man.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So awesome. All right. So let the people know your socials, please.
Okay. So I mainly just use Instagram. So my Instagram name is mxrk.gif.
MX. Oh, well, you know what? You can WhatsApp it to me so I can make sure to put it in stuff, yeah? Say it again for us, please.
mxrk.gif, so .gif.
mxrk.jaif.
GIF.
GIF.
Yeah.
So it's at MA and at all of those letters, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So what we do is we'll definitely post that stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hang about. Let's see if we can get Division to hear some audio from Division. I don't know if you've got any performances on your laptop by any chance, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You talking to us?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Cause you know why? Because you went like in the back. Can you hear someone else? Because all we can see is Garner in the back. So
I'm trying to. Alright. So, let me see. So I got it now. I was gonna play one from YouTube, but I'm just going to play one from WhatsApp. So that should be fun.
That performance, can you share it on your? If you can share your.
Yeah, sorry.
If that's a performance, if you share your screen, we should be able to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that now. Could you hear it though? Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Right. So I just wanted to test the sound because I literally just sent it to my WhatsApp. All right. So share screen. Yay.
I'm not seeing the screen. Yep, there you go. See it now. Yep.
The full screen.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go.
It sounded nice, but it had no price. The life that we live on, sign over ice. We're getting into debt, we're getting up the sex. But look at her, it's by the end to regret. All the sin of all the short. Of course, we live for ourselves to build our own story. It's in crisis, that's insecure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Love it, man. Love it. I love to see the young guys and girls. I love to see them actually going out there. It's good to come into a youth club, do your music, but it's great as a youth worker to actually see when young people go out and they create these opportunities and they do it for themselves, man. That's what it's all about, because that is also a learning process, you know.
Yeah.
What you got coming out musically, man? Let people know.
So we just brought out a song called "Keep Moving Forward," Philippians 3:13, and it's something that we've been working on. So we're working on an album with Battersea Art Centre through the agency program. The album is called Vision. Didn't have to look up for that. And it's basically just getting artists who are connected to Wandsworth together to talk about different social issues. And so things like domestic abuse, celebrating our wins, depression, whatever it is. We're basically writing songs about those, sharing our experiences, how we've dealt with it, and hopefully that will help the community. And so We were in the midst of recording that, and obviously lockdown happened. One of the songs that we had already recorded was about moving forward. It's about basically taking things one step at a time. Do you know what I mean? So not every move has to be a giant leap, but you just have to keep moving forward.
Very positive. Love
so
that.
Yeah, man, we've got that song out now on all platforms, by the grace of God. So it's out there for you to check it. And hopefully,
so what's your socials? How do we find that?
So find me on Instagram, The Vision. So DE.VIZION. Find it on YouTube. Subscribe to the thing. Don't know the thing.
Okay. And if any artists in Wandsworth are interested in being part of this project, have you finished have you got all your artists already? Are you still taking submissions? If so, how would they get in contact with you, or who do they need to contact?
Shout me. I mean, get me on Instagram. Send me a message, send me a DM, and yeah, man, we'll have a conversation. Literally, that's all there is. Conversations, relationships, and creativity, just making stuff happen.
All right, excellent. So DE.VIZION.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Forgive me, MX. Please spell out your one again for us, please.
So mxrk.gif.
Okay, cool. You guys got some complicated ones, but you know. So what we're gonna do is, once again, you guys can WhatsApp this to me when we finish.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll upload this on YouTube. Maybe we'll chop it up and do the same on the Instagrams and what for. Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us. Looking forward to hearing more of your music in the future. Looking forward to seeing you guys live perform. I mean, I've seen both of you in Key's house. I haven't seen you outside of Key's house. I know you had invited me, Mark, but apologies, I couldn't make it. But, you know, to see you guys outside. Once we're allowed to be human beings again and go outside, you know.
Me and my friends are planning like a event. So we've been doing events for 3 years now called Never Eat Shredded Wheat. And what it is like we get artists from north, east, south, west, and then like we all put on a show. So it's like roughly 10, 15 artists, and they bring like a couple of their crowd, and then like we just all link up in that one place. And
so it sounds like you two need to have a conversation then, because you guys are both doing some great things. You may be able to work in that respect and stuff like that. So yeah, all right. So as I said, the aim now is to start listing out like a kind of creating a list and doing a session by session on the steps to artist development and becoming an artist and stuff. So I'll be speaking to you guys away from it to see if you guys still want to participate, if you're able to. If you guys know anybody else that may want to jump on a Zoom and do this stuff like that. But I'm here representing Keys. So thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
You too, man.
Stay safe, yeah?
For one. Blessings.
All right, bye.